How do genes create genetic variants for families? Imagine your DNA as a long, detailed instruction manual. Sometimes, tiny changes happen in these instructions, creating what we call genetic variants. These variants are like small typos or edits in the manual that can change how things work. Genes are made up of DNA, which is a string of building blocks called nucleotides. When the sequence of these nucleotides changes, a genetic variant is born. These changes can be as small as a single nucleotide switch or involve larger sections of DNA. Variants can happen in two main ways. They can be inherited from parents or appear spontaneously during a person's life. Inherited variants, also known as germline variants, are passed down from mother and father through their egg and sperm cells. When these cells combine during fertilization, the new baby inherits a mix of DNA from both parents, including any variants present. Because these variants are in the reproductive cells, they are present in nearly every cell of the child's body. This means they can be passed on to future generations and influence traits like eye color, blood type, or even susceptibility to certain health conditions. On the other hand, some genetic variants are not inherited but happen after conception. These are called somatic variants. They can develop in some cells due to environmental factors like sun exposure or errors during cell division. Since these variants are only in some cells and not in reproductive cells, they cannot be passed to children. They may cause things like skin changes or certain types of cancer but do not affect family genetic makeup. Within families, genetic variants create diversity because each parent contributes different versions of genes, called alleles. When these alleles combine, they follow specific patterns of inheritance. For example, if a trait is dominant, only one copy of a variant is needed for the trait to show up. If it is recessive, both copies must carry the variant. These patterns help explain why family members might share some traits but not others. Genetic variants can be very small, like a single letter change in the DNA, or larger, involving whole sections or even entire genes. Some variants do not cause any health problems, but others can increase or decrease the risk of diseases. For example, certain variants in the BRCA1 and BRCA2 genes are linked to a higher chance of developing breast and ovarian cancer. These variants can be inherited through families, making genetic testing a useful tool to understand health risks. Over time, some variants become more common in a family or population if they offer some advantage or just by chance. This process is called genetic drift. Recent studies also suggest that some variants can influence traits across generations through epigenetic changes, which modify how genes are turned on or off without changing the DNA sequence itself. For families interested in genetic testing, understanding how variants are inherited helps identify risks for hereditary conditions. Testing can show if someone carries specific variants linked to health issues, allowing for early monitoring or prevention. Knowing about genetic variants helps families make informed health choices and understand their unique genetic makeup.